Today, we're going to look at the order of operations and one of the issues that occur whenever we're looking at consecutive operations of multiplication and division within one expression. So many of us were trained to look at order of operations as a checklist and perform what's inside the parentheses first, look at the exponents next, and multiplication and division, and sometimes we forget to do this in the same step before we add and subtract. And sometimes we forget to do that from left to right. The way we need to be looking at this checklist is that steps 1 and 2 are going to be looking inside the parentheses or brackets and then addressing the exponents or what is directly outside of the parentheses. The steps of multiplication and division will be done concurrently, and those will be done from left to right. And we're going to talk about why we need to do that from left to right in just a minute. And then we're going to perform any addition and subtraction last, also moving from left to right. So the question we need to ask ourselves is, why do we need to multiply and divide from left to right when we have consecutive operations of multiplication and division? So we're going to look at our one expression here today, and that expression is going to be 56 divided by 7 times 4. And I'm going to perform this, or I'm going to simplify this expression incorrectly at first before I do it correctly on the right-hand side. So when I look at 56 divided by 7 multiplied times 4, multiplication and division all in the same step, but I'm going to multiply first. 7 times 4 produces 28. And then we're going to divide 56 divided by 28. That is going to give us a quotient of 2. Now the error occurred when we have a divided by 7 in the middle of our operation, except we divided that starting value. Instead of dividing that starting value by 7, we divided that initial value by 28. Now this would have been correct if we had parentheses around the 7 times 4, but since we don't, we need to look at this as an initial value of 56, dividing it into 7 groups before we multiply those groups by 4. Now, in order to do this correctly, we're going to be addressing these operations from left to right. So 56 divided by 7 gives us a quotient of 8. That's going to be multiplied times 4, and that resulting product is going to be 32. Now, one way we can reduce the confusion within the order of operations with multiplication as division, instead of dividing, we can multiply. So instead of dividing a value by 7, we can multiply that initial value by 1/7. Now, what this is going to look like is we are going to replace divided by 7 with a times 1/7. And then I'm just going to simply drop all the other values down. So it's going to look like 56 times 1/7 times 4. And working our way through our order of operations, 56 times 1/7. It's going to look like 56 over 7. That's going to be multiplied times 4. And we know that 56 divided by 7, or 56/7, can be rewritten as a whole number of 8. And 8 times 4 will once again produce 32. Now we're going to test this with the associative property. So we're going to put parentheses around the first 2 values, or the first operation, and then go ahead and rewrite this using multiplicative inverses, or multiplying times the reciprocal. So 56 times 1/7, and that's going to be in parentheses. And that product will be multiplied times 4. So 56 times 1/7. Once again, that's going to give us 8. Multiply 8 times 4, we get a product of 32. Once again, with the associative property, we are going to On the right-hand side, I'm going to rewrite 56 times 1/7 times 4. This time we're going to place the parentheses around the 1/7 times 4. That is going to give us a product of 4/7, which is going to be multiplied times 56. And our resulting quotient is going to be 244/7. And 244 divided by 7 will give us a quotient of 32. All right, now we're going to test the same expression using multiplicative inverses with the commutative property. So this just means we're going to rearrange our terms as we multiply them. And on the left-hand side, we're going to rewrite 56 divided by 7 times 4 as 56 times 4, and then we're going to multiply times 1/7. So we just move the terms around. And as we work our way down, 56 times 4 is 244. That's going to be multiplied times 1/7. And we will get a product of 244/7. And we know that is going to give us a quotient of 32. In the middle, we're going to rewrite this again. And this time, we're going to place the 1/7 out in front and then multiply that times 56 times 4. And 1/7 times 56. 1/7 of 56 is 8. 8 times 4 produces 32. And then one last time on the right-hand side of your screen. This time, let's place the 4 out in front, the 1/7 in the middle, the 56 on the end, and 4 times 1/7. This is going to start looking very familiar. And 4/7 times 56 produces 244/7. Once again, that quotient is going to give us 32. So the purpose of this is to show that if we replace division with multiplicative inverses, we can reduce some of the confusion that occurs with multiplication and division within the order of operations. All right. Now, this is also known as just multiplying by the reciprocal, and it is the exact same thing we do when we use keep, change, flip when we divide fractions.